The movie kicks off with Steve Brooks, a chauvinistic womanizer with a trail of ex-lovers who harbor resentment toward him. Unbeknownst to Steve, he receives an invitation to a seemingly innocent surprise party, hosted by none other than his 3 former flames. Oblivious to the brewing tension, Steve arrives at their house, exuding his usual charm as he greets each of them intimately, offering roses as a gesture of goodwill. As the evening progresses, the atmosphere takes an unexpected turn. The women join Steve in a hot tub, and what initially seemed like a cordial gathering transforms into a lively and unpredictable scene, with laughter and camaraderie filling the air. Little does Steve know that this unexpected turn of events will set the stage for a series of twists and turns in his tumultuous journey. In a shocking twist unknown to Steve, the surprise orchestrated by his 3 ex-lovers takes a dark turn. They intend to murder him. The seemingly convivial hot tub gathering turns sinister as the women attempt to drown Steve. However, their nefarious plan hits a snag when Steve resurfaces, launching a counterattack against them. Realizing their initial attempt was unsuccessful, the ringleader, Margot, takes drastic measures. In a moment of intense confrontation, she pulls out a revolver and shoots Steve in the chest. The gunshot echoes through the air, marking a pivotal and ominous moment in the unfolding story. The women find themselves entangled in a web of unexpected consequences as the repercussions of their actions lead to the gripping drama that follows. In a sudden shift of scenes, Steve finds himself in a dark, desolate place known as purgatory. As he moves forward, a divine presence manifests. God appears in the form of a radiant pillar of light, embodying both male and female voices. The dual personas of God sternly confront Steve, highlighting the repulsiveness of his treatment towards women and deeming him unfit for entry into heaven. In a divine decree, Steve is given a chance at redemption. The celestial voices instruct him to return to Earth with a mission to seek out just one female who genuinely loves him. Failure to fulfill this quest would result in his soul being consigned to hell. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Steve agrees to the divine terms, and in a celestial intervention, he is sent back to his earthly existence, armed with the opportunity to amend his ways and find genuine love. The next morning, Steve finds himself back in the familiar surroundings of his own apartment, relieved to be in the comfort of his usual routine. As he gets ready for work, an unexpected visitor makes an entrance, none other than the devil himself. Disagreeing with God's decision, the devil argues that it's too simple for Steve to charm his way into another girl's heart without truly learning a lesson. In an unforeseen twist, the devil proposes a more challenging scenario. He suggests that God transforms Steve into a woman. To the surprise of Steve, and perhaps even the devil, God agrees to this unconventional proposition. In the blink of an eye, Steve undergoes a profound metamorphosis, emerging as Amanda Brooks. This sudden change leads to some of the most unpredictable and enlightening experiences as Steve navigates the world from a completely different perspective. The moment Steve gazes at his reflection transformed into Amanda, a wave of shock and disbelief overwhelms him, causing him to freak out and ultimately faint. His distress scream catches the attention of a concerned neighbor who, fearing the worst, promptly contacts security. Mac, a security officer, responds swiftly to the call and arrives at Steve's apartment. Upon entering, he discovers Amanda unconscious in the bathroom. Mac rouses her from her stupor and, sensing her disorientation, inquires about her identity. Still grappling with the abrupt change in appearance, Amanda gathers herself and manages to respond, claiming to be Steve's stepsister. The unfolding events lead to a set of perplexing encounters as Amanda navigates her new reality in the persona of Steve's purported stepsister. Having successfully navigated the encounter with Mac, Amanda takes advantage of her newfound identity. She reaches out to Walter, a friend of Steve's, and orchestrates a meeting. Assuming the role of Steve's stepsister, Amanda shares that Steve is currently away, leaving her in charge of his affairs. Walter, perhaps intrigued or puzzled by this unexpected revelation, becomes a crucial player in Amanda's unfolding journey as she endeavors to navigate the complexities of Steve's life in her new guise. Undeterred by the initial shock of her transformed identity, Amanda decides to pay a visit to Margot's apartment. Margot, taken aback by Amanda's convincing Steve-like demeanor, entertains thoughts of involving the police. Amanda, however, reveals a surprising depth of knowledge about Margot's interactions with Steve and 2 other women the night before. With this revelation, Amanda confronts Margot with a choice: either keep silent about her true identity or face the potential fallout of their shared secrets being exposed. Fearful of the consequences, Margot reluctantly agrees to maintain silence, becoming a reluctant accomplice in Amanda's quest to navigate the complexities of Steve's former life. Amanda, feeling confident with her new identity, tells Margot to teach her how to be more like a woman. They go through things like putting on makeup, dealing with hair, and walking in high heels. It's a bit of a struggle, but Amanda manages to get the hang of it. After that, Amanda meets up with Walter, who's Steve's best friend, at a bar. She introduces herself as Steve's half-sister and says that Steve decided to start fresh, like that artist Gauguin. Then, she and Walter go to Steve's workplace. Amanda convinces him that Steve left a note for him in his office. Amanda also goes to see Steve's boss, Arnold. She talks him into giving her Steve's old job at the ad agency and even gets more money. When Arnold asks why, she says she'll land a big account for the company, Faxton Cosmetics, run by Sheila Faxton. After taking charge of Steve's life and relationships, Amanda embarks on a fresh chapter in her own journey. Sheila, being a lesbian, captures Amanda's attention, prompting her to leverage her newfound female identity to attract Sheila's interest. To Amanda's surprise, Sheila does become drawn to her, sparking anticipation for what Amanda imagines to be a truly unique sexual experience. However, as Amanda finds herself in Sheila's company, she becomes unexpectedly uneasy. It takes a candid conversation with Margot for Amanda to realize that it's her own discomfort, rooted in homophobia, that's causing this unease. The next day, Sheila contacts Amanda to discuss the potential business deal between their companies. Simultaneously, Sheila extends an invitation for dinner. Amanda, despite her initial discomfort, agrees, and they find themselves at a high-end restaurant. The evening starts off well, with both enjoying each other's company. However, as Sheila begins to get closer, Amanda once again feels a sense of unease. In a turn of events, Amanda decides to end things with Sheila, confessing that her initial advances were solely motivated by the desire to secure the business account. While Amanda successfully secures the account for the agency, her actions inadvertently sow seeds of resentment in yet another woman's heart, perpetuating a pattern of animosity towards Steve. Feeling the weight of her actions, Amanda turns to prayer that night, seeking guidance from a higher power. Surprisingly, she finds herself visited by the devil, who attempts to tempt her into quitting and joining his ranks as a recruiter. Initially frightened, Amanda gathers her courage and firmly rejects the devil's allure, expressing her determination to make things work on her own terms. With that, the devil vanishes. The next day, Amanda reaches out to the last woman in Steve's life. Despite her efforts over several days, Amanda is disheartened to discover that, in fact, all of them harbor a strong dislike for Steve. Overwhelmed by this revelation, Amanda decides to drown her sorrows and shares a drink with Walter at the bar. After a wild night of drinking and an unexpected barroom brawl, Amanda, with the help of her newfound strength, manages to carry the inebriated Walter back to her apartment for the night. Wanting him to be comfortable, she helps him out of his pants and settles him into bed, before laying down beside him to get some rest herself. The next morning, Amanda is roused from sleep by an unexpected visit from Margot. To her shock and dismay, Amanda discovers that Walter had made advances towards her while she was unconscious. Expressing her disgust to Margot, Amanda recounts the incident, claiming that she lost her virginity to Walter against her will. As tensions rise during an argument between Amanda and Walter, Margot seizes the opportunity to discreetly hide the murder weapon, the same gun she used to kill Steve at the start of the movie, on Amanda's sofa, adding an element of suspense to the unfolding events. As the dramatic events unfold, news breaks that Steve's lifeless body has been discovered in the river. Amanda is thrust into the harrowing task of identifying the body. Upon her return, she is met with the disconcerting scene of her apartment, thoroughly ransacked by the police, who have also uncovered the revolver on her sofa. Amanda's world crumbles further as she finds herself arrested and charged with Steve's murder. Amidst the courtroom drama, Amanda unveils a shocking revelation during her trial. She claims to be the real Steve, reincarnated by a higher power. This assertion leads to her being deemed mentally unfit for the trial, and she is subsequently sentenced to the state mental hospital. Within the confines of the mental hospital, Amanda grapples with the revelation that she is carrying Walter's child. When Walter pays her a visit, the situation takes a dire turn as Amanda experiences complications with the pregnancy, adding a layer of emotional intensity to an already tumultuous narrative. After a heartfelt conversation with the doctor, Walter reveals a sobering truth to Amanda: carrying the child to full term poses a serious risk to her own life. Undeterred by the potential dangers, Amanda is resolute in her decision to have the baby, driven by a deep conviction that it is God's will. She expresses to Walter that the baby's existence is entwined with her own, and when she eventually passes, a part of her will endure through their child. In a moment of vulnerability, Amanda broaches the topic of Walter becoming a full-time father if she doesn't make it. To her relief, Walter agrees to take on this responsibility. Despite her reservations, Amanda reluctantly accepts Walter's marriage proposal, recognizing the importance of providing a stable future for their unborn child. As the wedding unfolds, Amanda's emotions play out in an unexpected manner. Giggling and smirking throughout the ceremony, she seems to find a peculiar joy in the surreal reality of marrying her best friend. The awkwardness reaches its peak when, at the conclusion of the ceremony, Amanda gives Walter a quick and somewhat awkward kiss on the lips. In the passage of time, Amanda experiences the culmination of her journey as she goes into labor. Walter stands faithfully by her side as she brings their daughter into the world, a symbol of the only female who truly loves her. Despite the joy of new life, Amanda's journey reaches its poignant end as she succumbs shortly after giving birth. In death, she ascends to heaven, where the soul of Steve faces a dilemma, unable to choose between becoming a male or female angel. The narrative then shifts, carrying us 5 years into the future. Amanda's spirit lingers in indecision as she observes from the afterlife. Walter and their child visit Amanda's grave, tenderly placing flowers as a testament to the enduring impact she had on their lives. The movie concludes on this poignant note, leaving the audience with a lingering sense of reflection on the complexities of love, identity, and the enduring nature of the human spirit.